Today on rLounge, we're throwing elbows. Sometimes bad people deserve a little bloody nose. Is she disabled enough? Backstory. I have a disability parking pass that I use only when I need it. At my local Walmart, there are Parallels disability parking spots. They are there for those that need to get equipment out or have ramps that need to extend. There are traditionally oriented disability spots too. There is also this dangerous habit of nearly everyone at the Walmart to park perpendicular to the parallel spots. I don't use disability parking that often, but my husband walks with a cane and uses them a lot. He parks correctly though. Those that are parked incorrectly will pull so far forward that they block access to the painted sidewalk, which defeats the purpose of the parallel parking spots, as even the other side of the sidewalk is now blocked from using the ramps. I have made multiple complaints to 2 different store managers and 1,800 Walmart, but nothing came of it. One of my coworkers is legally blind, is temporarily totally blind. She has an up-and-coming surgery, so temporarily. Her husband is her eyes and gives her rides to fill her prescriptions as needed. He's quarantined this week due to COVID, so I offered to help her get her medication. I drop her off the door, per her request, and say I'll park and come in just in case, as I wanted to make sure she was solid. I drive a Fiat 500 and I love it. Tangent, it was the first car I ever bought without needing my husband as a cosigner, and I get the best gas mileage on it, 40 miles to the gallon on the freeway, 5.8 liters per 100 kilometers. This is not estimated, but proven, and it's even been better at times. Also, it's small. It's a subcompact, and I joke that if I need to straighten it, I can just lift the bumper and move it over. Not really, but that should give you an idea of the size. So I park in a parallel spot. It's all that's open, and my coworker generally can't squeeze herself and her service dog into the tight spots of this parking lot. I feel like that episode of The Simpsons where Bart paints the lines 1 foot in and everyone is stuck in their car. I park and spend a second looking for my permit, as it doesn't live on my rearview mirror because I only use it if I'm driving my husband, or I know I will need it. So it's been about 8 minutes before I leave my car. Right then, an SUV pulls up and starts yelling. I didn't know it was to me, so I keep walking. A lady gets out of her car and grabs my shoulder, which spins me around and says, "Are you deaf? Move your car." Oh, I'm sorry, did I accidentally take your spot? I thought she was waiting for it and I had sniped her place. "No, this is disability parking and I need to park there." I don't judge anyone because disabilities are often invisible. To set the scene, she wasn't walking without an aid, cane, crutches, wheelchair, and she did run up on me. "Oh, I'm sorry, I need the space." "Well, nothing looks wrong with you, and being fat isn't a disability. Move your effing car." FYI Reddit, being overweight is a disability in my state if it's secondary. I'm fat because I'm disabled. I'm not disabled because I'm fat. This girl is screaming so loudly at me. "Look, everyone else can park right," she screamed, pointing at the cars parked perpendicular in a parallel spot 2 deep when it's meant for 1. Actually, they're parked wrong and are blocking disability access to those that need it. I shouldn't have engaged, but I did. Sometimes have an issue keeping my mouth shut. I shrug and start to walk away because my coworker is probably waiting on me inside, as it's been a minute and I don't want her to think I'd left her to fend for herself. The greeter and the cart guy are heading out at this point, and the lady, car blocking many cars from leaving or entering the lane, sees them and screams, "This fatty is using a spot for handicapped people and needs to move her effing car so I can have it. If she doesn't, I'm going to call the cops to have it towed." I know this is an empty threat, as a private citizen can't have a car towed from private property without the owner or manager's permission. This isn't my first fiesta with entitled ableist parking in a disability parking when it's either assigned to me or they have no placard. I keep walking in, as I know she doesn't have anything on me, and I see my friend heading out with a dog that clearly has a vest that says Blind Assist Service Dog. Screaming lady tries to grab at me one more time to spin me around, but I deflect and end up getting her nose with my elbow. It was an honest reflex from years of self-defense classes, but I digress. I don't notice at the time that I made contact, as I'm singularly focused on my coworker and getting her somewhere safe. I insist she take my arm as I lead her to the car and get her settled. During the brief walk, I give her the 90-second rundown and tell her I'll give her the full story on the ride back to her place. By this point, a manager has come out and asked me what happened, indicating Screamer is bleeding. I didn't break her nose, but I did make it bleed. Sucks to be her. I did it in self-defense, and there were at least 2 store employees as witnesses. I tell the story to management and let them know that I was helping my blind friend get her medication from the pharmacy. He saw her on the way out, and I confirmed they were the same person. So I turn to the Screamer, who is now going off on the cart guy, and say, "I got this spot for my blind friend. She's the reason I have this space. Is she disabled enough?" I can see the color start draining from the Screamer's face, and she stutters out something like, "Prove it. Where is she? Have her prove she's blind." Thankfully, the cart guy is between her and my car, so she can't make it to where I'm parked. The manager says to go, so I get the F out of there. I have given the manager my number to follow up and said I'd be glad to come back as I'm here all the time, but I needed to get my friend home. A few days later, I get a call from the manager stating that he only wanted to give me the story just in case something happens or she tries to file a fake claim against me. After reviewing the camera, they can prove that Screamer came into the parking lot after I'd parked. She had already been warned about bullying others out of their space at least twice before, too. She insisted the cops were called, so they did. Cops ran her permit and discovered it belongs to her mother, who died 2 years ago. They took the permit and warned her that it was a $400 fine for using someone else's permit improperly. They didn't ticket her as she wasn't in a disabled spot when they got there. They did threaten to have her cited with double parking as there were still people trying to get out that she was blocking into their spaces. This didn't surprise me as most people don't use the word handicap in my area when they are legit disabled. It's become somewhat of a slur now to insult the disabled, so we run far from it. The manager also stated that as this is not the first nor the second time it's happened, she has been trespassed and won't be allowed at any Walmart store in the state. I mentioned that there are 4 Walmarts in the county alone, and he said that her picture gets sent to them all, so she can't enter or park in any of them in the state. She can make the over 2-hour drive to the next closest Walmart out of state, or she'd have to shop elsewhere. The closest Target to me doesn't sell food, and they're about an hour's drive too. He told me this just in case I had any issues, as he was concerned regarding the retaliation. If you see her in the lot and you don't feel safe, call the store and have someone escort you to and from your car. We can call the cops to have her trespassed at that point. He wasn't concerned it would actually, but he wanted me to have all the info so I could act upon it as I wished. He was hinting around filing a report of my own, but I didn't notice until I had hung up with him. If you come to me in a nice way, I'll bend over for you. If you come at me, you might as well screw yourself over because everyone that has in the past was hiding something and I was good at finding it. Let's see what the community has to say. Deshep123 says, "Oh no, you hit her nose. Too bad, so sad." I also struggle with invisible disability. I can walk about 200 yards before I'm done and just sit for at least an hour. This means if I can drive to the store and park in a handicap spot, I can make it to the motorized carts. I'm overweight. I've always been heavy, and going from a lifetime of going at 1,000,000 miles an hour to chair bedbound in 1 week. Back injuries suck. 3 years of therapy and I can get by. I have been fat shamed so many times when parking handicap that I rarely go anywhere myself now. Although if you saw me walk, a reasonable person will see there is definitely a problem. My husband, my hero, got the last nasty person and told her that being stupid isn't a handicap, so she should shut the F up. This made her worse. Then in front of her, he called the police because the placard she was using was obviously a scanned copy. He explained to dispatch that she was screaming and cursing his disabled wife, and he was worried for her safety. Police came, she whined, they tore it up and ticketed her. She took and is trespassed from our local Kroger. Best wasted hour of time ever. Dorsha1104 says, "Some people are just so rude and they are beyond entitled. As a wheelchair user, you see situations similar to this on too many occasions. If I remember an issue with a guy who parked in a no park zone next to the disabled parking spot where they had parked, which meant we couldn't lower our ramp at the aid of our car. He sat in the car while his wife was doing the grocery shopping. He refused to move his car. Management came out and asked him to move, and he wouldn't. His wife heard about it in the store and came out and told him to move his car, and he refused. She was more pissed than I was. She threatened to get a taxi home and get him towed if he didn't move, but nope, he still wouldn't move. People they knew arrived at the store and saw all this and asked him to move, and he wouldn't. This guy was a serious tool and a nasty, nasty guy. All his exchanges were profanity plus. His wife spoke with management, who had said they were going to call for him to be towed, and she said, please get him towed, as usually people back off and let him away with it. Wife called the police and told him he was harassing a disabled person, and when the tow company would come, she knew he would kick off. The tow company and police arrived, and the officer's wife just happened to be in a wheelchair, so he wasn't taking any of the guy's crap. They got him out of the car so the tow company could attach it. He was pissed. He was trespassed from the place. While all this was going on, his wife finished the grocery shop, called that taxi, and went home. He rang her to see where she was, and she told him at home. He demanded she come and get him, and she hung up. Eventually, we were able to get into our car, 3 hours later. He was irate after finding out his wife had gone home and proceeded to start abusing us again because we made him look like a fool and now we put a strain on his marriage. I was an emotional wreck at this point purely because of pain, so I was crying. The officer was pulling off in his patrol car when he saw the guy near me and crying, so he stopped, got out, and handcuffed the guy. This made the guy worse, but he was arrested for threatening behavior. I found out a few months later that this guy constantly parks in disabled parking spots or blocks disabled parking spots while his wife shops and abuses people when he is asked to move. He is now banned from the majority of car parks, and his wife left him. Apparently, after the encounter with me, she told him if he did it once more, she was gone. Clearly, she had enough of his behavior, but he didn't behave. He did it again, and she walked. Some people are beyond entitled and think the more abusive, the more threatening they behave, the more they get their way, which was the case for years, but more people are not putting up with it and fighting back. Karma can be a bee. Oh wow, OP. This level of entitlement should surprise me by now, but honestly, there's so many bad people out there. I'm sorry she insulted you and laid hands on you. That's totally and completely inexcusable. The fact that she was lying about her permit too just adds so much fuel to this fire. What an absolute hypocrite. Moreover, we shouldn't be questioning people about their disabilities because there are so many invisible disabilities out there. This woman got what was coming to her, and I hope she can learn what it meant to be a good and compassionate person. However, I'm a little bit happy to hear that you made her bleed. Thank you for helping your friend out that day, OP. I'm sorry again. What are your thoughts? Do you have a similar story? Let us know in the comments below. And thank you for joining us today on rLounge. Before you go, be sure to like and subscribe and hit that notification bell. If you have something you want to say regarding today's content, share that with us in the comments below.